When you think about the global entertainment giant behind some of the most famous characters in the world, what comes to mind? Magic, right? Nostalgia, storytelling. But behind all that, what you're really looking at is one of the most brilliant financial machines ever designed. So the real question is, how did they turn simple cartoons into a massive, multi-billion-dollar empire? Well, let's pull back the curtain and deconstruct the architecture of their success. All right, so here's how we're gonna break this down. We've got a 5-part framework. First up, we'll talk about the #1 rule that started it all, the ownership mandate. Then, we'll get into how they built a financial fortress that can pretty much withstand anything. After that, we're gonna dive into the secret weapon, the IP flywheel. That's the real growth engine. Then they'll look at the critical mind shift from making products to building assets. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with the financial mindset that holds this whole empire together. You know, the foundation of this whole thing, the bedrock of the entire empire, it wasn't some big, flashy success story. It was actually a devastating loss. A really painful lesson that the founder learned way back at the start of his career became the single guiding principle for pretty much every decision made over the next century. So picture this. In the company's earliest days, the founder creates a character, and it just blows up. It becomes a national sensation. But here's the thing. He hit a really brutal contract dispute with his distributor, and that's when he found out the hard way. He'd signed away the rights. Just like that, in an instant, he lost total control of his creation, and almost his entire animation team walked out. That one event, as painful as it was, forged the company's ironclad rule from that day forward. The mandate became absolute. Own everything you create. Control your own distribution. Yeah, you can license things out strategically, but you never, ever give up ownership. And that's the whole key, isn't it? See, revenue from a sale is just a one-time thing, but an asset you own completely, that can generate value forever. Okay, so this idea of control, this mandate, it doesn't just stop with the characters. It actually extends to the very structure of the company. It's about shifting the focus from just owning an idea to protecting the entire enterprise from any kind of risk. And this structure is absolutely not an accident. It's a masterclass in how to manage risk. Instead of being one giant company where one bad decision could sink the whole ship, the empire is designed as a portfolio of totally independent businesses. It's built for maximum resilience. This slide just lays it out so perfectly. Look on the left. That's a typical company. It's like a game of Jenga, right? You pull out the wrong block and the whole thing comes crashing down. That's concentrated risk. Now look at the right. That's the empire's model. If one division has a bad quarter, maybe a film flops or streaming numbers dip, it doesn't threaten the others. Each part is financially firewalled from the rest. It's brilliant. And here you can see that structure in action. It's not just about making movies. It's theme parks, cruise lines, streaming services, real estate, global merchandising, you name it. And each one of these operates as its own separate business, with its own leadership, its own budget, totally free to succeed or, fail on its own terms. So if that corporate structure is the fortress, then the IP flywheel is the engine that's powering everything inside those walls. This is the mechanism that takes one little creative spark and turns it into compounding multi-generational wealth. Honestly, this is the real secret to their explosive, relentless growth. Okay, so here's how this flywheel works. It all starts with creating great content, right? Film, a show, but here's the crucial step. That content is immediately turned into a legally protected asset. We call it intellectual property, or IP. Now this IP, the characters, the worlds, the stories, gets monetized across every single division we just talked about. Parks, merchandise, live shows, everything. The profits from all that get funneled right back into creating new content, which makes new IP, and the wheel just spins faster and faster. This right here, this is probably the most critical insight of all. The movie is not the product. The movie is the factory that builds the real products, the IP assets. This is exactly why the company can be totally okay with breaking even on a billion-dollar film. I mean, the box office money is nice, it's a bonus, but the real prize, it's the new set of assets that movie adds to the portfolio for years to come. And that leads us to the most fundamental mindset shift of all. This is the thing that really separates this creative empire from pretty much every other business out there. It's the huge difference between selling a product and creating an asset. This one idea, which comes from expert analysis, just says it all. The movie is not the product. The movie is a factory that builds the products. A ticket sale is just the beginning. It's not the end goal. The real value is in the assets that movie creates, the characters, the music, the universe, that can then be monetized for decades. So just to be crystal clear, what is an IP asset? Okay, think about their world-famous mascot. That little mouse isn't just a cartoon character, it's a massive financial asset. It generates billions in cash flow from t-shirts, park appearances, and licensing deals, completely separate from any new movie or show. It's an economic engine that literally works 24/7. So after breaking down this absolute giant, what's the single biggest lesson here? It actually has nothing to do with animation or movies. It's about a fundamental shift in how you think about creating value in the first place. This visual basically says it all. The model on the left, that's the hamster wheel. You have to keep running to earn money. The second you stop running, the money stops coming in. But the model on the right, that's the empire model. That's like planting a tree. Sure, it takes effort up front, but eventually it produces fruit all on its own year after year, whether you're there to tend to it or not. One is earning, the other is building. And that leaves us with the one question that really defines this entire strategy. It's the question that separates a successful business from a permanent multi-generational empire. Are you building a business that just earns revenue, or are you building one that creates assets? Are you running on the wheel, or are you planting a forest of trees? The answer to that question really will determine the kind of legacy you build.